Buenos dias. Good morning. Happy Sunday. Darth Lopez. Here with something different. It's a topic I've been wanting to discuss for a long time. I've resisted in doing it because I don't think it's my lane. A lot of content creators, big channels, mid-side channels, whatever type of channels have been doing it for a minute, or have been talking about this topic for a minute. But it's always kind of been like kind of annoying. Like I've just gone through the comment sections, and what I'm talking about is there's some dudes out there or some content creators and a lot of people in their comments really feel the need to blame influencers and flippers and all this shit. Let me just come out and say, I'm 48 years old. I got it a hobby, I want to say, just to be safe, 93. That's when Darth Lopez started running. I was a growing younger man, so I started running around in the streets. But I always had my ear to the streets, if you were, on comics in the 90s. Every time I went by a shop or a bookstore, back when we still had newsstands, I'd always pick up a book or two just because, you know what I mean? The hobby. It's probably my favorite hobby. It's comic books. Fast forward to 2015, I get back into the hobby. I leave California. I come to the Midwest, Illinois, Northwest Indiana area. Bought my home in an area that had a shop. I was already back into the hobby. I went all in. Found YouTube around maybe 2016, 2017. By then I had already realized that one of the big mistakes I was doing as a collector was thinking that store exclusives were about something. They weren't. I learned that quick. I think I overspent on shit like that. I don't know how it was. One day I just, as I started finding more content in the comic book community, I saw like a pattern with store exclusives. They were rarely talked about. I think you got a few rare ones, like there's a Brooks Psylocke variant and some other shit. And so it got me to thinking, like, how much is this worth now? So I went on eBay. I'm like, what the fuck? They were cheaper, or they cost what I just bought them. So what I did was I put them all in a box, took them to my former LCS. I says, hey man, are you interested in these? He knew what they were. And he was like, kind of, what are you thinking? We talked the price, and I says, how about this? How about store credit? Right? So he gave me store credit, a few $100. I think I own 2 store exclusives. That's it. That was a crash course for me. Then I focused in on like what the comic book community was talking about. Basically, dude, I don't know if people should be blaming influencers for them not understanding the assignment. You were given, as Brian McClay calls, cornbread. If you didn't know, or if you were new to the hobby, by watching some of these content creators, you could learn a few things. That's where I learned about variants, the rarity in variants, second prints, the rarity in reprints. Just some rare shit like a cover A, for whatever reason, 50, $100, a low print run. All that language, all that lingo, I learned from watching the content. Now, you can call them influence if you want. And I understand there's a whole lot of, shit talking about pumping and dumping and all this other bullshit. Was it done? Probably. But dude, come on. There's always going to be some shenanigans and shit. It's just the way it is, right? But I learned a lot of knowledge from all these influencers, dude, which made me a hunter. I go back to Comic Tom. Before the pandemic, my GOAT, Jim Comics, key collector. I said it time and time again. Simpleman Comics. That's how I learned how to pre-order. And I focused on pre-order because they preached, you pre-ordered, you don't got to pay secondary market values. Reader speculator. That the first time I heard that, Gary Nusser, the comic deceptive, who hopefully I would love to have on my channel. He is not a drama guy. I don't even like that shit. So I got to, thin it out for him to come on, because that's not what the conversation would be about. It would be about a topic like this. Maybe I can ask him, see if he'll fuck around and talk about this. So I just don't think that, like, all these dudes whining out there in the comment section, blaming influencers for ruining the market. you guys mad because you pay market prices? I mean, I was out of the hobby for 30 years, and even I, when I came back in, understood that the pandemic was a facade. It was a mirage. It's like if you were out in the desert and you wanted water, right? That's what that shit was to me. I'm a hustler. I made money the illegal way, so it was easy for me to see, this ain't gonna last. And as I was being brought in to the comic book community, as far as on the content side, one of the guys who I don't fuck with now, one thing I will say about that dude is he was very leery when he did his content about, did not even want to be associated with pumping and dumping. A lot of books they wouldn't talk about because of situations like that, even though that was not their intention. But people out there, they see this on a channel and they just go out and buy this shit. I've seen it. I've seen people back in the flip side era, which is the best, for me, the best era of comic book content, because all the cornbread, all the knowledge they were given, right? I would see them talk about a book and then I would go to eBay. That shit was gone or prices were up. Is it their fault? I know people may think that was them probably having 50 first appearances of Riri second print and shit that they were standing on. They talked about it, so blow up, then they could sell it. I don't buy into that, dude. I don't buy into that. A lot of those dudes were hunters. They never got out of the comic game. Versus me, who was out. I learned from them what to look for. If it made the top 10 list, you were late. You had already fucked up. You were going to pay market prices. They preached no FOMO. Simpleman Comics was given knowledge on how to pre-order, like I said before, how to avoid secondary market. Tom himself would preach that type of lingo. You know what I mean? Spec responsibly. I heard that a lot, right? In the flipperverse, the flipper era. But collectors are what collectors are, and they get FOMO and they just go on and buy shit. Like Star Wars. There was some Star Wars mentioned by dudes that don't even probably know about fucking Star Wars. Everybody knew certain titles from Star Wars were just hot because we were in that moment. I could tell you that there was never going to be Dr. Aphra in a Star Wars property, whether it was a small screen or a big screen. Just what wasn't Disney was doing, dude. You could just tell. They fucked up the sequels. How could they invest millions of dollars on a character that comes from comic books? They did the High Republic because it just kind of made sense. And look how that turned out as far as the Acolyte. It was obvious that some of these books they were being talked about, so the prices went up. Nobody went out and said, hey, go out and buy this 9.8 for fucking whatever amount of money. Like, people should have done their due diligence. You should have researched. People that were buying all these books should have known this is temporary, dude. Everybody was going to go back to work. Things were going to change. The market was going to come down. It was going to settle. But no, a lot of these people went out and bought these books at at that current market, which the bubble prices, and now they're fucking butthurt. And you get some content creators butthurt themselves, making comments. Making content, taking shots at these said influencers or flippers. And then, of course, those people that feel that same way, they got burnt by not doing their homework, not understanding the assignment, paid a shit ton of money, and they can't even sell that shit for half of what they bought it for. They're all through the comments, all crying, hurting, blaming influencers. Yeah. Man, stop crying, pussies. You fucked up, dude. You fucked up. We all make mistakes in life, man. You fucked up. You know what I mean? I make mistakes on life for regular shit. But it's just interesting to me that, because constantly blaming influencers and flippers, man. Hey, dude, don't get mad at me or others. And how about this? If there's tiers of hunters, I would maybe be mid-tier hunter. There's a lot of shit I don't know. That's why I watch the content I watch, because I haven't been digging in a long time. But when I do, I know more. Sometimes I write shit down. I put it in my phone in notes, because you can find it out there. As you can see through some of the shit I'm showing, a lot of this I found in the wild. A lot of this I pre-ordered. Once I understood what Reader Speculator was, something that's killing the children, I just read in previews what it was about, and I like this. Let me get it. At that time, a 1 in 25 set was about $25-$30. I'm a variant guy, so I just order all the variants in the second prints, man. That's just how I got. Where did I learn that? Influencers. Or Venom. Venom 3 FOMO'd me, the third print, FOMO'd me in thinking that there could be some reprints that if I anticipate, maybe I got $100, $200 book. See, that's kind of like FOMOing myself, right? But then again, look at that some skill the children, dude. $3.99, got a 9.8, sold it for like $500. I flipped my way to some of my books. I've said it before in my content. What I'm trying to say is, man, look, keep it simple, dude. Like people have opinions, and that's fine. That's fine. If you think the influence ruin a hobby, okay. I don't see it that way. I think they enhanced the hobby. I think that they, with their knowledge, they were sharing any content, gave people like a virtual toolbox that you could put that knowledge in that toolbox, that when you went hunting, you could find some of those books, and maybe you weren't attached to them, so you could sell them at market price, save your money, maybe go out and dig some more, or save it for a grail, save it for a key that you want. It was quite simple. I don't understand. Well, maybe I kind of can't see, if you conspiracy theorists and you think that these dudes were just inflating shit and then selling their own shit, dude. Maybe one or two, right? Come on. Okay, it's possible, right? But all of them, not, man. This is just the love of the hobby. They wanted to share their knowledge, and they preached it time and time again, bro. All of them, Long Short, Yee, Red Hood. This is primarily the Flipperverse. Everybody on Tales from the Subplay. The great Brian McClay. Comic Tom preached, don't FOMO yourself. All the OGs, man. But I understand how people they were in a bubble. They had money. They paid market prices. Then the bubble busted, and they were sitting on $1,000 book that they could not even get half of it. I saw it. Look at the Riri. What is it? Apocalypse variant. I found that book way late in the game at a shop when my former LCS came into it, tried to sell it to me for about $600-$700. Oh, George, it's a $600-$700 book. No, it's not, Jim. It's about $300, maybe, if you're lucky, right? So we did some willing and dealing, got it for $150 plus a trade in, sold it for $300 and something. Flipper shit, right? Spec responsibly. I think now everybody's been burnt, and so collectors, I don't think they think that way. But you still got top 10 content. You still got everybody showing variants. But I think the mindset of people watching that content is different. They're hyper aware. Don't be buying shit at market value. What's reasonable for a variant that you want? What's in your budget? If you're willing to pay $100 for a rare incentive or a rare second print of a first appearance or whatever, it's because you want that book, because you're a collector. You want to add that to your collection, and you're willing to pay $100 for it, right? And maybe you're like me. You go out and hustle, sell some books to get a variant, right? Or get something that's rare that you want. I'm just saying, man, a lot of people should stop blaming fucking influencers. Should stop being weenies. I know some of those content guys, they just butthurt, or they do it for views. I go low blow for views, so I understand that, right? You know what I mean? But you guys got burnt. Oh well, put on your big boy pants and move on. You bought at a wrong time. You invested wrong, and now you guys are kind of butthurt and acting like weenies, going through comment section, creating content to push that narrative. You got dudes that don't even know about comic books jumping on that bandwagon, creating that content. Well, I'm here to tell you that content, that's where I got Darth Lopez got his game from, bro. That's why I'm a flipper. That's why I'm Newsstand McGee. That's why I'm low grade Lopez, right? But I make good money, so sometimes I do splurge. But hey, family, bills, and food first, baby. Before I even go out and buy this shit, I'm just a savvy collector when it comes to my comic book money. That's all it is. This is all I wanted to say. Stop blaming influencers because you guys did not understand the assignment. I do want to, hopefully I can pull some people on. Maybe I could talk about this live on Monday, on one of my Monday shows, man. So first of all, thank you to anybody who watches this. Shout out to my 212 subscribers. We'll see where this channel can grow. Again, stop being weenies and stop blaming influencers, because you guys cannot understand the assignment. You took the knowledge that they were giving you in the wrong way. You got lazy. You had extra money, so you bought the shit off eBay, and now you're screwed. Instead of doing what Darth Lopez and many others have done, go out and hunt, homie. Go out and put your Nike Cortez on, get in your car, through your city, find these books. And if you don't find the book you're looking for, I guarantee you might find you something else that you didn't think you would find. Darth Lopez, it is what it is.